adding bike lanes to Denton. Denton County is a unique town, unlike many others, because it is populated by an immense group of college students always looking for a better way of life. As you walk the University of North Texas campus, you will notice the many bikes chained to bike racks, trees, and the poles. These bike owners ride their bikes amongst campus for various different reasons. The condition of riding a bike throughout campus and the city are becoming more and more hectic by the year. Today, we will be going over why adding bike lanes in Denton is a great direction for the town of Denton. We will cover two advantages to the additional bike lanes in Denton. We will cover the increase of safety for bicyclists on the road and how residents can save money. Since 2008, more than 280 accidents in Denton involving a motor vehicle and either a bicyclist or a pedestrian occurred primarily on Denton's busiest roads, according to John D. Hayden. And according to Mary D. Alabo, just 2 days before our debate, there was an accident involving a bicyclist by train because there were no bike lanes involved. Bike lanes will establish safety for bicyclists by reducing accidents. According to Christopher D. Mario, he states that in a study of 690 cyclists, bike lanes reduced the risk of accident and injury by 90% when it came to safety. Adding more bike lanes will reap economic benefits by helping residents raise money. Laura G. states that, in fact, a two-person adult household that uses public transportation saves an average of $6,251 annually compared to a household with 2 cars and no public transportation accessibility. When the plans were implemented in Denton County, Grace G. Jones shows that a decrease of accidents decreased by 20% in just 4 months. Hopefully, today we will convince you that with these points, adding more bike lanes will have great benefits for the town. We will involve safety for the bicyclists and also the economic benefits by helping the residents raise money. We now have, in Denton County, they have conducted many meetings to try and get more bike lanes than the 2 bike lanes that we have now. Taking a step in this direction will ensure the many opportunities for the advancement city. Adding bike lanes will become a great asset to the city of Denton for the future. In the year of 2020, the city of Denton will like to have more than 30 bike lanes on 20 different streets. Adding the benefits of adding bike lanes will be seen within the next 10 years. Thank you.
We have a cross-examination.
First, I want to ask, do I start right now?
Yes.
Okay. Is riding bikes considered public transportation?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that the city of Denton is what you guys are claiming that bike lanes would be most useful in, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you say, can you expand more about the recent bike accident that happened?
Well, a bike riding along like a street by the train tracks. And because there wasn't any like bike lanes for safety or cars to swerve into wherever the bike was, and the bike like went into an oncoming truck, which eventually it didn't really just like hit the bike, but it clipped it to where it was an accident, and the bicyclist had to go to the hospital.
That's all we have.
We are now ready for our negative constructive.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we, the negative team, accepts the definition of the resolution offered by the affirmative, the negative team is unable to accept the advantages put forth by the first affirmative. Our case line states, not all roads in Denton County should have bike lanes due to the inconveniences it would cause the county and the taxpayers. My first disadvantage is cost. Bike lanes cost too much. According to the Texas budget in brief, Denton County currently has a budget of $224,110,183. From that, only 3% is allotted for miscellaneous items. We have already happened to be over our budget in that category by a little over $1,600,000. If we take a look at the city of Denton alone, to widen Oak and Hickory from Carroll Boulevard to Bonnie Bray would cost an estimated $2.2 million. With Denton County covering over 34 cities and parts of 10 other major cities, such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Plano, and Frisco, we do not have enough funding for all of those roads to have bike lanes. This would also be a forced choice for taxpayers. It would force taxpayers' money to go towards bike lanes and prevent funding from other projects, such as the I-35 expansion. Not to mention, the I-35 expansion is more favorable of a project for the county compared to adding bike lanes. According to the 35 Express website, the project is funded through federal, state, local resources, as well as State Highway 121 Regional Toll Revenue funds dedicated to Denton County. Phase 1 of the project is estimated at $1.4 billion. Total cost for both phases of the project is approximately $4.8 billion. We need all the funding we have to pay for this expansion. Roads are also too old for bike lanes. Among most cities in Denton County, the city of Denton is a prime example. Most Denton roads are not built for bike lanes. In order to make room, there would have to be road expansion. Roads are too narrow. Bike Denton, an organization, after a city meeting, made a statement saying, unfortunately, our older roads are often too narrow or lack sensors that can detect lights or otherwise need to be reconfigured or repainted. The rebuilding of roads would only add additional costs on top of creating bike lanes that we just don't have. Also, bike lanes are not necessary due to the majority of Denton County residents being drivers, not bikers. According to Denton County city data, over 100,000 residents own at least one vehicle. In contrast, only 1,465 residents claim to have no vehicle. That is only a little over 1% of residents whose only means of transportation is by foot or bike. It is not logical to spend millions of dollars on a bike lane project that would only benefit an extremely small portion of the population. My last disadvantage is bike lanes create traffic conflicts. Bike lanes would generate safety issues. Having bike lanes would disrupt the flow of traffic, especially when it comes to motor vehicles and bikes making a turn. According to the AASHTO guide for the development of bicycle facilities, at intersections, bicyclists proceeding straight through and motorists turning right must cross paths. Bike lanes sometimes complicate bicycle and motor vehicle turning movements at intersections because they encourage bicyclists to keep to the right and motorists to keep to the left. Both operators are somewhat discouraged from merging in advance of turns. Thus, bicyclists may begin left turns from the right side bike lane, and some motorists may begin right turns from the left bike lane. Both maneuvers are contrary to established rules of the road and may result in conflict. In conclusion, I am sure my disadvantage is that bike lanes cost too much and generate traffic conflicts will have convinced you that the resolution must fail. Bear in mind, we the negative have nothing against cyclists. Our issue is that making all of Dane County have bike lanes is just not feasible. I now stand for cross-examination.
Cross-X.
All right. Regarding to the point of the traffic issue, like if bike lanes were to be added on, my question is, does this actually show that bike lanes will reduce first traffic injuries, and second, it'll actually, studies show, actually according to British Columbia, actually provided overwhelming evidence that actually traffic will be flowing a lot better. So where, how, in fact, I'd like to reiterate, how would adding bike lanes make traffic worse in studies contrary to that statement?
I didn't say it would make traffic worse, I said that it would create traffic conflicts. The conflict being that if a bicyclist was continuing straight and a car was turning right, the bike lane is the furthest right. That may result in the car hitting the bicyclist if they're crossing at the same time.
Okay.
Also, as it's stated, we're kind of taught as drivers to keep to the left, bicyclists to keep to the right, and in terms of us turning different ways, if a bicyclist needs to turn left and they're all the way in the right-hand lane, or in their bike lane and a car needs to turn right and they're all the way left, that could result in possible accidents.
And regarding the cost, in fact, for the general fund, according to DentonCity.com, it says, coming from, well, regarding the total cost, what is the approximate total cost for Denton City alone for the bike lanes being added?
I don't have that, I just know that by that one example, it would cost $2.2 million. Just for that, from Oak and Hickory to Carroll Boulevard and Bonnie Bray. So I would assume that the cost could possibly be higher, with it just being $2.2 million for this one area.
Third question will be regarding,
That is time.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Negative attack.
Who's next?
Yes, the negative attack is next.
Okay. All right, so the reason I asked them if they were just talking about the town of Denton is because in our resolution, it says the House believes that the county of Denton should make all roads within the county have officially marked bike lanes. The county of Denton does not only consist of Denton, because it consists of the 34 cities in the county of Denton, and 10 participating cities that connect to Dallas and Fort Worth. So this whole time, they're talking about just the town of Denton, and that's the reason why we couldn't give them a specific amount for the town of Denton. We can give you an amount for the county of Denton, because the county of Denton is the 9th largest county in Texas. And the reason I asked them is biking public transportation? They said yes. Public transportation is, DART, using the UNT shuttles and buses. Bike riding is something that people do. It's not a public service that people get. There's a priority for our roads. Most people in the county of Denton are commuters to school and drive their vehicles. So priority number one is fixing the roads. The roads affect everyone, including cyclists. There's a lot of potholes out there that need to be fixed, and I have a quote from Denton City Councilman Kevin Roden that states, "There is a certain level of priorities. We can put paint on these streets. That's all we need to be replaced, but these streets have priorities, and that's not helpful for cyclists." Designing bike lanes is serious business. Doing it wrong, and it will hurt a lot of people. By squeezing bike lanes into roads that do not have enough room, that creates serious safety compromises. A lot of roads are narrow, and believe it or not, most streets are better off without bike lanes. Bike lanes have a lot of physical requirements to be safe. If you bend these requirements too far, you'll wind up with a biking environment more hazardous than the streets without bike lanes. These requirements include such as signage, distance, driveways, intersections, pavements, drop-offs, and slopes. Most common factor that leads commuters to blend the requirements are intersecting overall ability with of parking.
Cross-examination.
All right, I have a few questions here. First of all, what evidence made you think that we were just talking about the town of Denton? I know we used some facts from
You
the town of
said
Denton.
town a bunch of times.
I didn't hear her say town, but okay.
I did.
Second of all, you don't think bike riding can be considered public transportation, but I know in places like Asia, they have like rickshaw rides. Why would you think that if we had bike lanes, we could impact something like that, where people would pay somebody to ride them someplace? That would be definitely considered public transportation.
Good question.
Yeah. Why would you consider bike lanes, like bike riding, like not public transportation?
This is something that you do yourself.
But you don't just have to do it yourself, you can ride somebody else around, is what I'm asking. Would you consider that public transportation?
You don't pay for the,
But if you were to pay somebody?
good.
All right. Second of all, you say that most people are commuters, but we're actually, I'm wondering if you know just how many people actually ride bikes in the Denton County area.
I don't have that on.
As well as, why would you think that if they're going to build these bike lanes, why would you think like they might do it wrong? Like, you said that it's dangerous if they do it wrong. Why
Yeah.
don't you just kind of explain that a bit?
If you put bike lanes on all roads, because the resolution, all bike lane, all. Believes that Denton County should make all roads, and all roads, it's not feasible to have that because a lot of roads are really narrow, and there's parking there, so we would have to either widen out the road or shorten it up by putting a bike lane there.
That is time. We are now ready for the affirmative attack.
Okay. Today I'm going to be talking about the defense of why adding bike lanes would benefit not just Denton City, but Denton County alone. Overwhelming statistics and evidence show that if you do add bike lanes, the benefits will outweigh the cost of the disadvantages. First of all, let's look at the decapitating cost. Cost is going to be an issue. Cost is going to be a problem. Well, in fact, when you look at the general fund statistics from cityofdenton.com, every single year, Denton always likes to save in approximately around 20 to 25% to have an overall surplus in order to carry over to the next year. And this is the fund that Denton County will use for making the bikes, adding the bike lanes in Denton. And in fact, last year alone, the surplus was around $23 million, and it's going to exponentially go up even higher over the next 10 years. So the cost, as we can see, will be covered. In fact, cityofdenton.com, a lot of Denton council members said that this is a need and that we need to go ahead and add these bike lanes, especially with the population growth that's coming to Denton. In fact, another reason we need to add bike lanes is because of the population growth. The statistics show that every 10 years, 30,000 people will be added onto the city of Denton alone, and the Denton County will be growing exponentially by the year 2070. So why should we add bike lanes? First of all, this because UNT is a college town, 30,000 students. And of those 30,000 students, approximately 3,000 students ride bicycles. And that's just the college alone, not including all the rest of the people that are using that as a way of transportation. And the reason people are using that as a way of transportation is now the average national rate of gas is $3.49 a gallon. So more people are riding bikes to and from work, to and from school. As you can tell, in Seattle alone, that's a great example. A councilman kept pointing to the cities of New York and Seattle who added more bike lanes. In fact, when they added those bike lanes, they kept saying it's going to be a bad issue. It's going to create problems for traffic. Well, in fact, statistics show that accidents with bicyclists and pedestrians when bike lanes were added dropped significantly. In some areas, by 90%. And also, according to Seattle, in fact, you look at other cities, when you add bike lanes, for example, the economic benefits for the local residents, especially the residents that own businesses. On some streets in Seattle, for example, when they added the bike lanes, then a Denton Council city member kept referencing this and why we should add more bicycle lanes. On 65th Street in Seattle, their businesses and retail shops growth grew by 350%. When you're driving, especially in Denton, going to and from school, work, or whatever, you don't notice the small shops that are in the local area. But when you're riding a bike, statistics show, especially in New York City, where their businesses grew, in Seattle, their businesses grew because people were walking more, people were riding their bikes more because of the additional bike lanes. The retail shops and their businesses grew exponentially. Especially, it will benefit those residents, the local residents that have local businesses. So it will benefit not just the neighborhood, not just the community, but economically it will set up for a very strong future in the town of Denton. In fact, since it is a college town, we need to have those additional items.
Ready for cross-examination?
Okay, so you mentioned that we have extra money. Could you please tell me that amount?
The extra money that, according to cityofdenton.com, I have it right here, the bike lanes will be funded through the general fund. And the surplus, any fund balance is an extra amount that they always like to have every year, approximately reserve targets.
So what is the amount?
$23.82 million, which we had in the 2013 budget.
Okay, does it say typically where this extra surplus funding goes? And where does the money come from?
Well, the money comes from different sources such as taxes, it comes from different fundraisers. The general fund will come through those different sources. And what was your second question?
Just disregard the other question.
Okay.
Do you know if this is something taxpayers' money wants to go towards? Typically, is this something that they advocate for?
Yeah, most residents in Denton County, especially since it is a college town with TWU and UNT, and college students' salaries average around $10,000 a year or less. College students, especially, not just in Denton, Texas, but around the communities, especially with raising gas prices, there's polls that have shown that Denton residents and Denton County people do want additional bike lanes in order to save on
Okay,
transportation
so
costs.
over 100,000 residents have, okay. You said that the population is growing. Do you know from that number of population growing in Dade County, how many of them are cyclists?
Well, let's see. That's something I do not have on me, but the statistics show right here, let me get this for you.
If you don't have it, it's okay. I have more questions.
Go right ahead.
So you also said a percentage of students are bike riders. Could you repeat that percentage? I'm sorry.
Well, the approximate students that live in town, there's about 3,000 of those, and they're saying it's going to grow exponentially over the next 10 years.
Okay.
All right, we are now ready for our first affirmative defense speaker.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to clarify that we are talking about Denton as a county, obviously, and not just the city. It's just mainly the evidence that we have found have been from Denton, the city. And secondly, you said that the cost is too high, and that but in fact, and you said that the taxpayers are going to be that the taxes are going to be raised, but actually I looked on the Denton plan, and it said that taxes would stay steady and that they would find the funds from elsewhere. Also, there's actually several, there's tons of bicycle commuters. You said that you didn't know, like, if like there's a majority of commuters. There's actually over like 2,000 people in just Denton City alone who commute to and from college. This is a college town after all, and there's just a whole bunch of reasons why we should have bike lanes. And also you said that that most people have cars, but the reason they have cars is because there are no bike lanes, and there's no reason for them to have a bike because it's unsafe, and if they had bike lanes, then they would probably be more willing to get a bike and use less money on cars, because let's face it, gas is incredibly expensive. And in fact, they would, according to Lauren G., people spend about 1.5 gallons of gas per week. And if they were to just use bikes, they would save over $288 a year just on gas alone. Secondly, you said that it would be difficult for people and really confusing for the bicyclists on the road and motorists. But the city actually said that it's going to execute a public annual information program that would educate Denton's residents so that they know how to act in these situations if a bicyclist is turning or if a motorist is turning. They're not just gonna have the people be completely clueless and just, that would cause all kinds of accidents, and it's kind of ridiculous. Let's see, and as for the streets being too narrow, though there are some narrow streets, there are also a lot of streets that would be perfectly fine with bike lanes, and the fact that we don't have any bike lanes is, it just shows you that people really don't understand just how easy it would be for Denton to put bike lanes into our streets. And it would also definitely help traffic, because as it is, when bicyclists, like, again, there are small roads, and when bicyclists are on these small roads and there's a car behind him, he can't really get around him. And because of this holds up traffic, and if they had their own lane, then this wouldn't be an issue. But it would also help increase safety for several reasons. One of which, the bicycle lanes can actually be used as
All right, we're now ready for our negative defense speaker.
Alrighty, I just would like to reiterate, first and foremost, that the resolution states all roads in Denton County. I know it's ideal to maybe pick and choose some roads that bikers predominantly use, and that'd be cheaper, but the resolution does state all roads, so that would raise prices. And in regards to the money issue, I-35 expansion is at the top of the priority list for Denton County right now, not bike lanes. That's costing the county billions of dollars right now, so bike lanes are just not a priority. You mentioned that it may be that taxes would stay the same, but that would also mean that money would have to be taken out of other priorities and sections of taxpayers' money. And I don't believe that they want to take it out of education or healthcare or other things that are more important than bike lanes. You mentioned the city of Denton. Well, I guess y'all kind of. As stated before, 3,000 out of 30,000 people bike to campus. That's only 10% of students that are bikers. UNT is a big commuter school. So most people commute to school within hours or 2 hours away, so bike lanes aren't going to change their commute that they have to make. Another thing, resolution that we thought would be street signs are a smarter decision over bike lanes because they're significantly more cheap, and just because bike lanes are there doesn't mean that drivers and bicyclists are going to be safer and that they know all the rules of the road. Street signs, you have to pay attention to street lines and regard all of them to be a smarter way to spend your money. Like we said before, bike lanes are just simply not really necessary for Denton County. There are numerous of different ways you can get around, such as the DART train takes you to Louisville and other places around Denton County that a bike would take hours to get to. The University of North Texas also has the shuttle that they take UNT students for free, so the issue of gas money isn't really relevant. If you're taking the bus, it's free, as long as you show your student ID. I think that is, yeah, like we said before, the county of Denton includes over 50 cities, therefore the the drawbacks of the bike lanes will affect all of those cities, not just Denton County. And as we stated before, the Oak Street to Hickory is gonna cost $2.2 million. Just imagine every street in Denton having a bike lane. Could easily go well over $1 billion. I think that's all I have.
Okay, we're now ready for our affirmative summary.
So, as stated, she said that UNT was more of a commuter school, and understandable enough, but majority of the students that attend UNT stay on campus. With that being said, they have to have, transportation to get from one side of campus to another. And with so many commuters, that makes it more dangerous for us as students to ride along and be with all these vehicles rather than having bike lanes specifically set out for us to ride around and be able to be safe from accidents. Let's be honest here, how many times have you been on campus and, let's say not even riding a bike, walking across the street, someone has almost hit you, right? It's happened countless of times. And with that being said, that's very dangerous. And, nobody wants to go off to a school to where you have to fear for your life. With that being stated, Chris Baskin, with 12 reasons to start using bicycles for transportation, stated that bicycles are an effective alternative to a car. Meaning that, perhaps you're not in a position to adopt a bicycle as primary transportation, but they make great second vehicles. So, as that being said, you as a driver, how many people in here drive? You. So, with that being said, not only do you have your car, but you have to pay for all those expenses. Imagine how much a bike would help. Seeing as how, this is not me talking to the commuters exactly, but say you drive to campus every day and you stay at a park around town. Well, with you having a bike, that's less expense for you. So gas money is definitely, it is definitely an important object when it comes to the matter, because we're all college students, we're all penny pinching basically. We're suffering from student loans, so we need something to, basically subject, substitute between what we need done.
Also, as far as what the future holds, with the flow of traffic being able to flow smoothly, not only is it I-35 that is the main focus, understandable, because it's a two-lane highway, it is also obvious that Denton has too many two-lane streets, and one-way streets at that. I mean, take a look at Fry and Hickory, you know. With that being said, I feel that it would better increase the flow of traffic around town, around campus. It will keep us basically in the best possible shape possible. And also, with cost being an issue, it was allocated that we had $23.8 million, which is unallocated money that Denton City Council has saved up over time with irregular funds and anything that they have to put towards fundraising or any other issues around town. So definitely it would hurt, it would make us pay more taxes, but at the same time, it would only be for a short period of time.
Cool. We are now ready for our negative summary speaker.
Okay, so I would just like to start by, kind of going off of what our last summary speaker said. He mentioned that riding a bike is a great alternative instead of, spending money on gas driving your car. Let's go ahead and discuss the fact that there are other alternatives such as carpooling, and as Anissa mentioned earlier, riding the train, riding the bus. You don't necessarily have to ride your bike as that second alternative. There are other alternatives that are cheaper, and especially with us college students being basically broke, a lot of these resources are made available to us at little to zero cost. Also, with that being said, bikes are only convenient for short distances. I don't know anyone who travels from a completely different city an hour away on their bike to another city. Not saying that it doesn't happen, just the majority of cyclists that we've researched, they do not travel long distance on their bike. Going back to the taxes, we weren't stating that there would be an increase in taxes for taxpayers to have to pay for this project. Taxes is something that already comes out. It's pretty stable. We're not saying that there should be increase in taxes to cover the cost. We're just saying that the money that taxpayers are already paying, we don't think that there was enough substantial evidence given by the affirmative side to show that taxpayers really do want their money to go towards something such as bike lanes. Also, a lot of the examples that they've mentioned, we just want to cover the fact that it seems convenient for there to be certain parts of Denton County to have bike lanes, not all. And that's what this resolution is stating. This is what we're arguing for. We're arguing whether Denton County as a whole should have all roads officially marked, not just certain roads, not just certain parts of Denton County. Again, costs, they kept being a bit dismissive about cost, but cost, it really is a huge thing. I mean, if we don't have the money to fund it, then we simply can't have bike lanes. I know they said there's an extra funding, but according to our data, a lot of the funding that we've had, it's already been placed for how it's gonna be spent, and we already have gone over in expenditure. So taking the little money that we have and trying to make sure that every area of the county is being taken care of is already a struggle. We just don't have room in the budget to take on more and more projects such as the bike lanes. So, on top of that, I would just like to have you all consider that, yeah, I mean, bike lanes, they would help certain areas, but there's no guarantee that having bike lanes, one, would increase the amount of cyclists that we have. There's no guarantee that someone's gonna see, hey, there's a bike lane, I wanna get a bike and start riding my bike. There's no guarantee. All you can do is make assumptions. And that's not enough to take money and just go ahead and start making bike lanes. That's all that we have. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for sticking around for this debate. Reminder to people in the room, there's an extra credit sign-up sheet up there. Debaters in this round, I would encourage you all to stick around and watch some more debates and enjoy the glory that is Debate-A-Palooza. If you're interested in watching the next debate in this room, it'll be a throwdown about whether Snowden was justified or not, versus the individual from Hillary St. John's section versus our great and dignified Brian San Miguel. So. Oh, I'm so sorry. When I called you, did it interrupt? No.